Hey guys, this is Daniel Rothrock here with NARPM of Tampa Bay, and today I have the luxury of speaking with Marc Cunningham of Grace Property Management. Real quick, for those that don't know what NARPM means, it's the National Association of Residential Property Management. We're a great volunteer organization that focuses our attention on education in property management as well as building strong, solid relationships. So today we're going to talk with Marc Cunningham regarding his upcoming visit to Tampa and the Florida area. So Marc, thank you for having us or spending some time with us today.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. So you're getting ready to come on this tour to Florida. How many chapters are you coming to?
I'm actually doing 4. So this is a back-to-back, I guess, event for me. So I'm from Colorado. So, I mean, if I can get an excuse, it snowed here yesterday, all right, to give you an idea of what we're looking at. So, yes, I'll be leaving cold, snowy Colorado to come visit Florida. So I'm not suffering too bad.
There you go. So, and so it's 4 consecutive days?
Yes, I'm going to be speaking on Tuesday in Sarasota. I'm in Orlando on Wednesday. I'm with you guys in Tampa on Thursday, and then I'm in Lakeland on Friday.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like a great trip. Tell the audience real quick, like, what does NARPM mean to you, and how did you actually get involved?
So I stumbled into NARPM 15 years ago, roughly, and we've got a property management company here in Denver. And somehow I heard about this property management group that was meeting. My first thought was, that's the weirdest name I've ever heard. What a weird group of initials, NARPM. But I thought, I'll go check this thing out. And I went to that meeting, and I remember at the meeting, this gentleman was kind of teaching a little class on management agreements. So you got to remember, like, I walk in as the new guy, and I'm thinking, okay, here's all my competitors, right? This is everybody. These are the guys I want to kill, and they want to kill me, right? Because that's how we operate. And the guy comes in with a stack of papers, and he hands out a copy of his management agreement to everybody. This is 15 years ago. I mean, this is before information sharing was even kosher.
Yeah.
And we're thinking, what's this guy doing? This is the craziest thing. This is like gold. I mean, to a PM company owner to get a copy of another company's management agreement, and he's giving it to us, and then he proceeded like to teach on it. And hey guys, here's my management agreement. Here's how I do things. And it really kind of blew me away. I thought, wow, this is amazing, because I mean, he's giving away information that is just so valuable. And he was a veteran in the industry, and I realized that that's kind of the culture of NARPM. Right? It's that idea of we can be better ourselves if we're better as a group. And so it really is a group of folks that have bought into this idea of let's share, let's educate each other, because if we as an industry can be better, at the end of the day, it does benefit each and every one of us.
Absolutely. Well, that's an amazing story. I had something similar where I actually came out, and the first time I came, I didn't have a great experience, and so I actually didn't return for almost over a year. And I had an opportunity to come back out. I think someone else had invited me. I had another year of experience in property management, so I took the risk. Second time worked much better for me, and then the experience the second time was much better. And from that point on, you're absolutely right. The sharing of information is unlike a lot of other cultures that I've been a part of. It's quite unique, and I appreciate each and every meeting, because I'm always at least one golden nugget I'm taking away from those luncheons or those meetings. And I always try to find that one thing to take away. It's not going to radicalize your business necessarily overnight, but if you can take one thing away, and over time, systematically, you can definitely change your business, your efficiencies, and how you run your business from the top down. So great insight. So yeah, you're coming up. You've got four deployments, 4 tours here in Florida. Are all 4 events the same?
No. I've got a number of different topics that I kind of can touch on, and folks are picking different sessions there. So I'm going to be talking about systems, building systems into your PM business for 2 of the events. With your group there, when I'm in Tampa, we're talking about kind of leadership and HR within that scope of things.
Awesome. So let's focus on the Tampa event real quick. Why should someone attend this particular event?
So I think the concept of leadership in HR is probably like the most over-analyzed and over-talked about concept in there. And you walk into any bookstore, and there's their leadership section. But I think it's that way for a reason. for us as PM company folks, right, if we're in the PM business, unfortunately, there's zero correlation between being good at property management skills, right, collecting rent, signing leases, doing checkout inspections, the skill set required to do that, and the skill set required to run the PM company, to run the people in your PM company are not just different, they're like antithetical. There's no correlation there.
Right.
And we discovered that early on that, gosh, we're pretty good at property management, but we don't know what we're doing when it comes to trying to find people, attract people, retain people in our business. And that really, at the end of the day, is so important. We had an employee, we've been around for 40 years. We've been around a long time. And we had some of those early on employees that were just amazing people, just fabulous. And then over time, when some of those folks left, and you'd replace them with somebody that wasn't quite as amazing, and you kind of scratch your head and realize, wow, the difference is the people, right? When we get good, solid people in place, that makes such a difference in our business. But how do we be proactive with that rather than just rolling the dice and say, gosh, I hope the next person who comes along is a rock star. How can we be proactive in that as company owners? And so we really tried to study that, to learn that, to see what we could do as the owner of the company to find, to attract, to retain, to manage those individuals that are going to be successful for our company. Because I thought if we can get the best property manager in the state of Colorado on our team, what's that going to do for our business? If we get the best leasing person in the state of Colorado on our team, what's that going to do for our business? And so we kind of broke that out into every position we have. And we're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but one thing we are good at is just that, finding those people, attracting those people, and retaining those people. And I tell folks, look, I'm not smarter than any of my competitors in Denver. I'm not, absolutely. I don't work harder than they do. I mean, I'm at my home office today. When you and I are done here, I'm gonna go for a run, and I'm a little lazy, I tell you. And so I don't work any harder. I'm not smarter. But one of the reasons that we've been successful is because we are good at getting the best people. Getting the best people, keeping the best people, making them successful. So whether you have a company with one part-time VA, virtual assistant, or whether you've got a company with 50 people, that's irrelevant. The size is irrelevant. You've got to be managing, leading those people to make your business successful. Yeah. And so that's kind of what we want to talk about in our time together is what specifically can I do? Not just the big touchy-feely, be transparent and love your people and just be truthful. I mean, we all get that. We all try for that. But what do I do Monday morning when I go into my office? How can I make my people better? And what can I do to really make that impactful, to make them more successful, to make my life easier?
Right. Awesome. I'm definitely looking forward to learning a few things from that. So for those that do attend, without giving too much away, what would you say the top 3 things that someone could expect to take away if they do attend the luncheon?
Top 3 things somebody could take away. One aspect that we're going to initially talk about are the practical things you can do. Like I said, Monday morning, you walk into the office. What are some of those practical things you can do to bring some things to your team? I think one of the things we do is we get it backwards, and we think that our team members are there to make us successful. And I think we need to flip that around, right? If you look at it through the lens of, hey, my purpose at the organization is to make my people successful. Yeah. And how do I do that though? How do I change my language to talk about talking to my folks? What can I do to really get them to buy in? So I think that's one thing we'll talk about from that standpoint. The other thing we'll talk about is how to find those people, because good people are hard to find. Right. And interviewing can be just a roll of the dice sometimes. Yeah. I think there's a lot of things that we as company owners or interviewers can be doing to go out and find those people, not to be hiring, because I think hiring is proactive. Excuse me, hiring is reactive, right? Hiring is getting a bunch of resumes of people who can't find jobs and picking one, right? That's hiring. Whereas recruiting, that's proactive. That's going out there, finding people that are already successful and getting them, convincing them why it's in their best interest to come on board with you. So we'll talk about some steps that you can do to actually recruit folks to your team. And then once you get them, how do you manage them and lead them? We'll talk about things like one-on-one meetings, why that has been, we count as probably one of the 3 or 4 most effective and important things for our organization that has made us successful. This concept of doing one-on-one meetings with our team members every single week, what that looks like, why we do it. So I'm really just going to kind of share exactly how we do those things. And again, we're not perfect, but we've stumbled our way into a lot of those things. So I think people will come out of there with the idea that, hey, if I have somebody, here's how I can make them more successful. And even if I'm a one-man or one-woman shop,
Right.
if I ever consider hiring somebody someday, here are the things I need to be doing to get the right person in place. Right? Because if you're small, I think it's actually even more important. Right? We've got a team of 25 folks. If we make a bad hire, we bring one bad person on, we've got 1 out of 25 that's a bad apple. They're going to blend in to some extent, and they may coast, and it's not going to hurt anything. Right? If you've got an office of 2 people and you make a bad hire, and now you got 1 out of 3 that's wrong, that's a 33% failure rate. You can't afford that. So the smaller you are, the more important this stuff actually is.
Sure. No, very valid. So just kind of recap, like as you were talking about point number 1, this 2-word came to mind, and it was servant leadership. You were talking about kind of leading these people, and the flip of the mentality or the philosophy of, instead of them trying to make us successful, it's the other way around. In fact, that we're actually trying to do our best to make them the heroes and make them, do as well as they possibly can. So just thinking about all the intricacies from top to bottom, from left to right, like everything that we do matters, and so trying to have this servant leadership mentality for those that surround us. So I don't know if that means anything to you or not, but it resonated with me. So I appreciate you kind of hitting on that topic. So a lot of what you just said really sounds like it's a business decision, or a business, someone that's a decision maker, maybe the broker of the company, or, HR, VP of HR or whatnot. Like, how can we find ways that whatever you're presenting on is also actually speaking to the employee themselves, the boots on the ground? Is this a topic that should only really be for decision makers and higher ups, or can we talk and resonate those types of comments also to the employees and see it flow up and just instead of maybe a top down?
Yeah, great question. And I love when I'm able to do these sessions to find out how many folks are there that are not the bosses. Right. How many people I'm the front desk person, and this is my second day on in the job. I love that because what I say to them is, look, number one, your boss is so glad you're here, because I'm going to tell you the things your boss wishes they could say to you, but they don't have the courage to say. Right? This is what you need to know to be successful in your position. If you do the things we're talking about, you're going to become that invaluable team member, that invaluable employee to your organization. Right. So this is, I think from that perspective, absolutely. This is the stuff I preach to my team. I mean, the things I will be talking about are the things that I tell my team on a regular basis. There's no secrets to that extent. I tell them what I need to be doing to make them successful. Right? I mean, we really lay it out there. So no, there's no secrets that way. We want people that are the front desk person that just started, that has nobody reporting to them, and they're the lowest person on the totem pole. You want them to learn this stuff, because the sooner you learn how to be a leader, that's when you step into that role of leader. Right? You don't become a leader and then learn how to do it. You learn how to do it, and then you become one. So I think that can be some benefit on this type of stuff as well. Is when you start thinking through the things that we're going to be talking about, when you start behaving in these ways, you almost can't help but stumble into a leadership role.
Yeah. Okay. Great perspective. So just wrap up here. What would you say your biggest challenge has been in both the leadership or human resources role?
Biggest challenge in the HR role for me has probably been to give up control. I'm a control freak. I want to control everything. I've got an opinion on everything. I want to tell people because I can do it better than anybody in my office. Right? I mean, that's my mentality. But I heard one time, and this really resonated with me. Someone said, look, you can have growth or you can have control, but you cannot have both. And that hit home, because we are growing quite a bit, and I'm a control freak, and those two things don't fit well together. Right. So in order for us to continue growing, I do have to give up some control. So finding the person to come in that I can give up control to is the key. So the most difficult part has probably been getting myself to a point of being comfortable with balancing the fact that I still want to have my finger on the pulse of things, but yet I also need to release that person to do what they do. And I think there's some very practical things we can do around that by putting some accountability, and that's really the word we're talking about here, right? Putting healthy accountability, not unhealthy accountability, not micromanagement, but putting healthy accountability in place so that I can be comfortable enough to come out to Florida for a week, hang out with you guys, and still have total confidence and trust in my people. Not blind confidence, not blind trust, but that we have accountability measures set up so that I can be assured that they're doing well. But just balancing that, I think that's been the biggest challenging thing for me.
No, that's awesome. So you actually talked about this a little bit because you have gotten to the point where you've been able to give up a little bit of that control. So you may have already answered it, but what would you say you're most proud of as far as where you've come from, where you are now with Grace Property Management?
So last year we started something new with our tenants. I think this is, and this is just brand new. We really haven't even talked about this yet. But we believe that we improve lives. I mean, that's the big why for us. That's our purpose, is we're making lives better, our owners' lives and our tenants' lives. And one thing that is just painful to see is when you see these good tenants get in these financial situations, they lose a job, they lose a spouse, something bad happens, and you're just like, hey, sorry, I mean, pay your rent, or you gotta get out. That's hard. That's a hard position to be in. So we said, you know what? How can we step into that void and help that out? So we started a new program about 4 months ago. It was all the first of the year we started this. Our company's Grace Management, so we call it Grace Gives, or Grace Gives campaign. So what we do is every time we sign a lease, we write a check into this bank account we set up, our Grace Gives account. We're funding this account, and then we're going to use those funds we already have to help our tenants, when they find themselves in some life difficult situation, to push through that. Like I say, the loss of a spouse, the loss of a job. So because we have good tenants. And so we've already been able to help out. We helped out a mom, and she called our office, and she's been a tenant of ours for over 10 years. Over 10 years. Mom and dad and their disabled son, and dad died. And she was like, look, I got to move. I just can't afford the rent. My husband passed away, kid's disabled. I love it here. And she said, great. She said, but I got to move. Right. Oh, that breaks our heart. She didn't want to move. She couldn't afford it, though. She couldn't afford it. So we called the owner, explained the situation. We said, hey, how about this? How about if we as a company, Grace Management, we kick in, or we said to her, how much do you need to reduce the rent by to stay? And she's like, if I could get $300 a month reduction in rent, I could make it work. Call the owner. Hey, how about you drop the rent by $150 a month? Our company, Grace Management, will kick in $150 a month. Yeah. And there's the $300. And the owner's a great guy. He's like, yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. So he dropped it by $150. We're paying $150 a month out of our pocket, out of this campaign. She was just crying and happy as could be because she gets to stay in her house, right? Yeah. And so we've done that a couple times now with different folks. And so, man, that's what we're excited to see how that can happen, so that when we get these tenants, we've had it happen in a couple instances. We allowed some of our team to contribute to this, like out of their own pockets. Right. We were blown away by that. Most of our team members were like, hey, man, count me in. I want to give some money to this. So I'm excited to see what that can become in the future to help out our tenants. Sure.
That's a great idea. And thank you for sharing that. All right. So just to wrap up here, final question, anything in closing that you'd like to share to anyone that's listening as far as getting out to one of these events or NARPM in general?
I do quite a bit of traveling and speaking in realtor groups and things. And what I can promise to the folks, if they take the time, because people's time is valuable. I get that. I hate going to an event and you leave and you're just like, well, that was the biggest waste of time. So that's always my goal, right? If somebody comes out of there, I do not want them to say that was a waste of my time. So that's what I'm going to strive for. I can't promise it, but I'm going to do my best to make sure that folks will walk out of there and say, I got some stuff that I can take back to the office tomorrow morning, some actionable things, not just a bunch of knowledge to float around in my head, but something I can do tomorrow to make my business better.
Awesome. Well, Marc, I appreciate you. I appreciate the time and investment you've put back into NARPM, and not only furthering Grace Property Management, but fellow property managers such as myself to learn, in your footsteps. And just to say we appreciate you, and obviously taking the time to get away from cold Denver or Colorado and heading to Florida. We look forward to having you in Tampa real soon, and I know the other chapters are real excited to have you as well. So, hey everybody, if you will, just click on the link above and make sure that you preview the details of the event. I know that Marc's going to be here next Thursday in Tampa, so we look forward to seeing everybody out, and we'll talk to you then. So
Daniel, thank you. I'll see you soon.
All right, take care.